Hey everyone, welcome back to When Creatives Thrive, a BOPA podcast. I'm Stuart Rustin, the multimedia manager at BOPA, and I'm so excited to have Wendell Supreme Shannon, a geometric precision painter, muralist, and designer, here with us in the studio. He joins us to reflect upon his recent work honoring the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. at the Visionary Art Museum, a sickness that shaped his career, as well as unity in the city of Baltimore. We'll also discuss his recent news coverage in the wake of the Key Bridge collapse. So stay tuned. Wendell, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience as an artist? What's that progression been like, and how do you describe your style?
Yeah. So I'm a man of many talents. I'd say as an artist, it happened by happenstance. So I was actually in school for entrepreneurship at Morgan State, and I was diagnosed with some autoimmune diseases. I lost the use of my hands. In summary, my heart wasn't strong enough to pump blood to my extremities, so I couldn't open or close my fingertips.
Wow.
So as a result, I had the option of going the medicinal route, and that came with all sorts of limitations. You can't drive, you can't work, you can't, period, right? Instead of that, I chose physical therapy, and part of that therapy was learning to rewrite numbers, letters, and draw shapes. I fell in love with drawing shapes and coloring them and just moving my hand. That developed when about 2 years into the disease, everything went into remission, but every day I kept drawing. I went back to the school, I went back to Morgan, grabbed some books, applied what was in those books to drawing, and started my career as an artist. So that was around 2019. Since then, I've done everything from fine art exhibitions, traveled road trips, traveling nationally and internationally, showing my work, murals, community projects, public art, fashion design, you name it. And most recently, just graduating from MICA for the business of art and design, specializing in entrepreneurship.
That's incredible. Can you tell me more about the experience at MICA and how that education is going to serve you going forward?
Absolutely. So just having the fundamentals of understanding business, whether it be in the aspect of finance, business planning, proper business planning, being able to professionally communicate your needs, your targeted results, and your strengths, weaknesses to banks for funding, to have a full-on career that can be invested into as an artist, something that I think a lot of us don't think about. Most of us are on the hamster wheel of create, sell, but there's a level of planning that goes into it. There's a level of intentionality that also goes into it through the use of social media, email marketing, so many different avenues. We now are able to create and generate revenue and create relationships with our audience with no middleman. So just understanding the business as a whole and understanding where you're going as an artist or what resources are available to you changes the game. The starving artist concept is out of the window.
So one of the many reasons I wanted to bring you into the podcast is because I know that you've had some work in the past related to MLK, and we've got our MLK Day parade coming up soon, so it seemed like it was a really good opportunity to talk about his legacy, talk about how it continues to live out in the art that we do. And you had a piece recently at AVAM. It was titled Unity Canvas, a collage tribute to Martin Luther King Jr., and I wanted you to give us a little bit of insight into that. Also, kind of riff on, if you could, just this idea of unity and the way that MLK was able to bring so many different kinds of people together to bring about real change, and how does that translate into the art?
Yeah, so with the AVAM, I had the opportunity of doing a speaking engagement with them, letting them know how my art was used to better the community here in Baltimore. And that led to the follow-up, which they invited me out for the MLK Community Day. And a part of this was just reaching out to different members of all over Baltimore, letting them know that we can come together to create a collage piece inspired by what makes them and Baltimore unique. So we use my geometric abstraction, my signature style, and we incorporated different areas where everybody who participated took things that they loved or identified with, and we brought it all together on one canvas to show just how intertwined we all are.
What sort of things were volunteered for that project?
So we had different variety of like magazines, images, stock images, images from the internet, landscapes, things that reminded people of home, whatever home may look like, just to show the level of diversity that exists. So you would see someone had like a farm, people had like cityscapes, apartments, homes, and we layered it all together on the canvas, whereas it looked like everything was cohesive.
And that is definitely a challenge, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
What was the reception like when people came in to see that piece? I mean, I think these days, social media and news outlets portray our culture, our society in America as being divided, or there's this divisiveness. But did you feel that kind of unity at the museum?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Just a warm greeting. Everyone was treated like family. That's the dynamic that I have with everybody I interact with. Coming into the museum, getting to know everybody, like warming up, learning about them, where they're from, what led them to this very moment in their life. That's something that I'm really big on as far as developing the relationships. That was transferred over to the canvas because everyone brought their own level of self-expression to the same piece. Everyone's different, diverse background, ethnic culture, dialect, you name it, life experiences, all were brought to one canvas, and we made it or assembled the piece in a form where it showed differences, but those differences brought about similarities when brought in unison.
For sure. Well, tell us a little bit about your experience in the community and building community here in Baltimore.
Okay. So for years, I'm 14 years in as an artist. I've been doing everything from volunteer work, community campaigns, drives, back to school initiatives, you name it. Paralleling that with my artistic voice, just using my voice as a catalyst to create change in different parts of our city. So much so, I've done everything in the more recent years, like a basketball court revitalization for the underserved communities. Plenty. Just using art as the theme and or concept that brings people together.
I often wonder, and I think this relates back in a way to our conversation about unity, how we as artists, how can we come together and help each other? Because obviously in business, there's this idea that there's competition involved, but can you give me any sort of insight into how we work together?
Easy. I've built my career off of collaboration, not competition. I have so many partnerships with any type of artist, any type of business entity. I know you mentioned the word, but I don't have competition. I'm a creator and I'm here to create. I'm partnering with other creatives and we're making magical moments. We're making magical pieces together. We're figuring out ways to push our brands even further. I'm sharing resources to distributors, manufacturers, third-party companies, because I just want to see people win. That same thing, I feel like once you take that first step, it creates the culture. It begins the domino effect where artist after artist is helping another. To date, I have phone calls from other artists, different cities, different countries, even down to the city as a whole. Just, hey, how do you do this? Or what supplies are best to use for this project? Or how do you properly price this? Listen, the minute that we set the standard as creatives, it's in terms of our professionalism, how we price our things, or how we constantly improve. We set the standard of how we're treated and respected throughout the community as a whole.
In terms of community, in terms of all the different stakeholders that we have in Baltimore City, what can you point to as examples of unity, of ways that we're bringing people together?
We're doing a great job as a community, whether it's entrepreneurs, small businesses, these corporations, these different nonprofit organizations, city government. Everyone is a lot more intentional about building community. I think we're living in the time that we wished happened, or that we wished for years ago. Like when you look at downtown now, the amount of small businesses that are present, you look at the impact that and the voice or the intentionality of how they're bringing artists to the forefront from the city for the city. The Orioles working with a lot of local artists, Under Armour using artists like Devin Allen, and they're creating the culture or enhancing or uplifting the culture by just including them. Come on, let's go. Let's make this. How do you want to portray what the experience is like so that everyone is comfortable and understands your perspective of life? That's what our voice as artists do.
Recently, I think you received some media coverage from local news.
Yeah. During the Key Bridge collapse, I actually used my voice as an artist and the artwork that I did, my times being a longshoreman, my time actually painting down at the port, killing time. I've made several pieces and made posters of them, made prints of them, the whole nine. So I reached out to some different resources, different contacts that I had, letting them know the intentionality behind wanting to help some other longshoremen. And I ended up receiving some national press. As a matter of fact, it was global press related to the bridge, but it brought about thousands of dollars worth of donations just selling the art that I had on standby. And this will raise funds to help everyone with like emergency relief.
Right, which is the basics, right? Of just trying to get by since y'all were out of work.
Absolutely.
At a kind of a moment's notice.
Absolutely. So when the Key Bridge collapsed, it took our careers, which are non-guaranteed work, to now no work whatsoever. So it was just as sudden as you can imagine, just an overnight change.
What made you decide that that was the right thing to do in that moment?
I've been blessed with the vision of preparation. And this was the quote, when opportunity meets preparation. But the opportunity was just to do something for someone else. It wasn't something that was for self-gain. Just being in a position of having an abundant amount of work, being on the front line of the situation, and just knowing that my voice and everything that I came with could make a change. And the could is that mustard seed that if it could happen, it will.
And do you feel like you've given yourself the opportunity to be as multidimensional as you need to be? It seems like you are, as a longshoreman, as an artist, as a fill in the blank, like you're just sort of living life the way you want to live it.
That's it. That's the key. I can show up in any room as myself, but I also understand what it takes to get the job done. And because I understand what it takes, or I'm willing to understand what it takes to get the job done, society will put the label on me. When I was making paintings and then someone called like, hey, you willing to do a wall? I was willing to do the research and now identify as a muralist. After that, I did it on the street. Now I'm a public artist. After that, I researched how to create fashion, be a designer in the fashion sense. Now I'm considered a designer. I've done work with nonprofits. I've done work with, you name it. I go into these rooms as myself, but I'm intentional about how I show up, what I know, what resources I can provide, or what value I can provide to get the job done. The labels just come.
Where does that confidence come from for you?
That's deeply rooted, man. I would say there have been several times where people close to me, a whole lot of like naysayers, the whole nine, like, you can't do that, you can't do that. And I used to have this like ego, like, oh, I'm going to prove you wrong. No matter how long it takes, I'll come back in 10 years and show you I proved you wrong. But over the years, I realized I didn't have to prove anything to anybody. In fact, I just had to prove to myself that I'm able to do whatever I put my time into. It's that simple.
What an awesome thing to share, because that's something I think we all deal with.
Yeah.
We all deal with thinking we have to stay in some sort of box.
Yeah.
And life's just better, I think. Life is just better once you say, I'm going to follow whatever path, whatever mission, whatever thing sort of speaks to me in that moment.
Yeah. This is what I feel, and I'm willing. The minute you commit yourself to getting it done, whatever it takes, like tomorrow I want to learn construction. All right, get the books, learn it, figure out who to follow, figure out who to just do it. It's literally that simple in all aspects. It's not even about other people. It's like, are you that driven? Are you that passionate that no matter what highs and lows come with whatever you're trying to do, are you willing to ride that wave and see it through?
Can you give a younger audience or an audience that's just starting out any kind of direction into breaking down those barriers, or just, getting to the spot where you feel confident putting your art out there and potentially making a living off of it?
Absolutely. So there's a huge difference that I see in artists who went to school for creating art and then self-taught artists who are finding their way. There's a certain hunger and drive that forces us. I still consider myself a self-taught artist. There's a drive that forces us to figure out ways to make things happen. We'll find an empty space and figure out how to get our audience who loves our work in there, versus waiting for the approval for someone to say when they can show our work or if they want to show our work as a whole. Understanding the business model of booking a venue, selling tickets, selling, breaking even after that investment. Those are the very low-end aspects or avenues that, whether you're school-taught or self-taught, you should know. Making your own opportunities is pivotal when you really want something and you're really trying to make a name. Finding ways to diversify your art. It's not limited to the canvas, or doesn't have to be. You can take your work and it can be posters. You can take your work and it be clothing. It can be merchandise, so on and so forth. As long as you figure out the way to properly create a product that is of value, there's no reason that you should fail.
I just wanted to say thank you again for being here on the podcast, especially in this still sort of incubator period.
Sure.
It means a whole lot, so thank you. Where can we find you online? What you've got coming up?
You can find me online at WSS Fine Art. That's the Instagram, and WSSFineArt.com is our website. Those are the two core places you can find me, but throughout the city you can find like my public art, like 1 Wilkes Lane by the Lord Baltimore Hotel's massive mural that a lot of people go to and like do photo ops. So you can actually see me in different aspects. The Visionary Art Museum, the Museum of Industry has my work. I mean, I'm here. I'm accessible in a variety of ways.
Dope. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate what you shared. And hopefully we can have you back on the pod sometime soon.
Looking forward to it, man. Thank you for your time.
Thanks again to Wendell Supreme Shannon for joining the podcast. If you've got a story to share and you want to be featured, reach out to me at sruston@promotioninarts.org. And don't miss the MLK Junior Parade, January 20th, starting at 12 p.m. with a step off at MLK Jr. Boulevard and Utah Street. And remember, when creatives thrive, we all rise.